Have you ever just stopped and watched a flock of birds twist and turn in the sky like it's one single being? Or seen an ant colony with thousands of ants working together like a perfectly oiled machine? It looks like magic, doesn't it? Well, it's not magic. It's something way, way cooler. We're diving into the hidden genius that makes it all possible, a concept called swarm intelligence.
So when you look at the natural world, you see these massive, coordinated efforts everywhere. And it just makes you scratch your head and wonder, how on earth do they pull it off? How do thousands of them move in perfect sync when there's no leader, no manager with a clipboard, no general shouting orders? Who's in charge?
And believe me, this isn't just a happy accident. Think about it. Ant colonies don't just find a path to food. They almost always find the shortest path. Bird flocks can fly thousands of miles and not have a single fender bender in midair. And honeybees, they have a whole communication system, this waggle dance, that tells the rest of the hive the exact direction and distance to a new patch of flowers. It's basically a living, breathing GPS. So you have to ask, right? Who's the architect drawing up the plans? Who's the choreographer for that incredible dance in the sky? And the answer is what makes this whole thing so mind-blowing. No one. Absolutely nobody. There is no mastermind. See, the secret isn't some single brilliant leader hiding in the background. The secret is the crowd itself. The genius is in the collective. This whole idea has a name, and once you get it, you'll see how it's unlocking some incredible new technologies. It's called swarm intelligence. Okay, that sounds pretty academic, I know. Decentralized, self-organizing systems. But let's break it down because it's actually really simple. Decentralized just means there's no central command post, no headquarters. And self-organizing means that all the order and complex patterns we see just emerge. They happen naturally just from individuals following a few simple rules and paying attention to their immediate neighbors.
And that is completely different from how most of our world works. You know, think about a typical company. You've got a CEO at the top and decisions flow down from there. But what happens if the CEO quits? The whole thing can get pretty shaky, right? That's a single point of failure. A swarm is the total opposite. The intelligence bubbles up from the bottom, which makes the whole system flexible, adaptive, and incredibly hard to break.
So if there's no boss, how does anything get done? It really looks like chaos. But it turns out there's a kind of recipe, a secret sauce, if you will. There are these core principles that allow all that genius to bubble up from the crowd.
All right, so here are the ingredients. First, you need decentralization. No boss. We got that. This allows for step 2, self-organization. Each little guy just adapts based on what's going on right next to him. That, in turn, makes the whole system incredibly flexible. If a rock falls in their path, they just flow around it. It's also scalable, which is huge. You can add 1,000 more birds to the flock, and the whole system just keeps on working. And finally, my favorite, it's robust. One ant gets stepped on, the colony doesn't even blink. The system doesn't crash. You put all those ingredients together, and that's how you get a truly intelligent system.
Okay, now this is where things get really, really cool. Because we humans aren't just sitting back and admiring this. We're taking notes. We are literally copying nature's playbook to build our own powerful technologies. We're turning what we see in an anthill into our own digital reality.
Let's go back to the ants for a second. So one ant finds some food. On its way back to the nest, it leaves behind a chemical trail, a pheromone. It's like a little breadcrumb trail that says, good stuff this way. Other ants smell it and start to follow. But here's the brilliant part. The trail evaporates. So a long winding path gets a weak trail. But a short path? Ants can run back and forth on that one super quickly, laying down more and more chemicals. So the shortest path gets reinforced over and over until it's a superhighway. So simple, but so incredibly smart.
So what did engineers do? They created algorithms that do that exact same thing. It's literally called ant colony optimization. The next time you get a package delivered, there's a good chance the delivery route was planned by a virtual ant colony, finding the most efficient path through traffic. We use the same idea to manage internet traffic, sending data packets down the least congested routes. It's ants, but for the digital world. And we are using this for so much more than just deliveries. We're talking about coordinating swarms of drones for search and rescue missions in disaster zones. We're talking about balancing the workload on the massive server farms that run the internet. It's being used in finance to model market behavior and even in healthcare to help discover new drugs. The applications are just exploding. And to think, it all started from watching an ant. It's wild.
So why does all this matter? What's the big takeaway? It's that thinking like a swarm is a huge shift in how we approach problems. It's about moving away from relying on one hero and instead embracing the power and the wisdom of the crowd. And the advantages are just undeniable. You get amazing efficiency from simple rules. You get systems that are adaptable and can roll with the punches. They have built-in fault tolerance so they don't just break. And you can scale them up to solve problems that are absolutely enormous without creating a bottleneck at the top.
You know, it really just comes down to that classic idea. A single ant isn't a genius. A single neuron in your brain by itself isn't conscious, but you put them all together and something truly incredible emerges. The real magic isn't in the individual parts. It's in the connections between them. It's in the collective. And that leaves us with one last really big thought to chew on. In a world where we're always looking for that one grand plan, that one perfect top-down solution, swarm intelligence teaches us the exact opposite. It suggests that maybe the answer to our biggest challenges, from climate change to global pandemics, isn't one perfect plan. Maybe it's millions of small, simple, coordinated actions. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What huge problems could we solve if we all just learned to think a little less like an individual and a little more like a swarm?